Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, 5-year, 287 for J-Dub from the world champion Oklahoma City Thunder. That is the deal. 5 years, 57 point something a year. And I'm not gonna argue with it. That's my initial reaction to that. I'm not gonna argue with it. I'm a believer in J-Dub. I've been a believer in J-Dub since before he was drafted. Even when I didn't know where he was going, I was like, yo, that's baby Max Johnson. It's the truth right there. And so far be it from me to have that type of confidence in him, watch him literally win a championship, and then have a problem with him getting top dollar, top years. At this age, I just can't argue with it. Do I like that contract in a nutshell, given to really anybody? As I mentioned yesterday in my NBA video, as I was walking down the street in the hot sun, I don't really like paying anybody that amount in this era. I'm not a believer in the field enough to really give them record-breaking money, dude. And that would be my argument. If I were an owner, that would be my argument. I understand that the cap is potentially raising up, even though it's been reported that what they thought it would do, it hasn't done, which is like what I told them 3 years ago they should caution against. And I think they're going to be blindsided by one of these years or two of these years where the cap goes down instead of up. I think they just automatically thinking, oh, we got an influx of money, influx of money, influx of money, influx of money. One of these years, y'all going to be thinking we got an influx of money, and they're going to tell you it's something under what you paid last year. It's coming. I know it. But nevertheless, they're paying guys with the intention of agreeing or projecting that more money is coming in, significant more money. So by year 3, year 4, it's not going to be a bad contract. I just think with the state of the world right now, that is a terrible, terrible projection. And I would argue that if I'm an owner, that I don't need to be paying these guys any more this year than I would pay them 6 years ago. That's what's safe, in my opinion. It's safer to not give these guys record-breaking money just because you got an influx of money coming in. You're counting your eggs before they hatch, or chickens before they hatch, and I just don't know if that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I don't find myself drawing the line with J-Dub. I don't. I sort of kind of feel the same way about Paolo Banchero, although I think Paolo Banchero is a number 1 guy on his team. J-Dub probably would be too. Paolo would probably be a number 2 in this situation. That's not, I don't think there's too much of a difference if you're considering. But the point is, based on what he's worth to Oklahoma City Thunder, you're paying your number 2 what the Orlando Magic paid their number 1, for whatever that's worth. And you just paid your number one money, and you paid your number 3, number 2 money, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly what Chet Holmgren got, but he got a big deal a couple days ago. So they didn't divvy out just shy of $1 billion to 3 players. If my numbers are correct, maybe $200 million shy, $200 billion rather, $1 million, yeah, $1 million shy of $1 billion to 3 NBA players. And while you can really love that they won that championship, and that's the pinnacle, they got it done. They won a whole lot of games throughout the regular season. You got a good thing going. But I would tell the Oklahoma City Thunder now it gets tougher. It gets tougher because now these guys that you have on your team are not slapped next to one another on rookie contracts. So the likelihood that you'll be able to keep a souped up team around them that can run the field down going forward isn't as high, because now you're slapping together $200 and $300 million contracts next to each other, and you got to fill out the rest of the roster with whatever you have left. It's going to get significantly harder. Them being souped up like they were this year ever again is over. That's over. Now I want people to know that's over. That only works when you can slap together so many different rookie contracts or so many different guys on dwindled smaller deals. When everybody's making what they're supposed to be making, now you got the back of your bench is not as strong, because you can't afford to make it as strong. So do you weigh that against the players that you're paying to say you benefited more off your team being souped up than we benefited off of your trio being what drove us to where we're at? I think the answer is yes, if you're asking me. I'm going to say I can argue we can't win a championship if you're the only 3 players on this team that's any good. And if the answer to my equation is no, we can't win a championship, then the solution to my problem is to ensure that I don't cap myself off that high. I don't know which one of them dudes I let go, but one of them wouldn't be getting played if I was running Oklahoma City Thunder. Probably Chet Holmgren. I'm keeping Shea MVP. I'm keeping J-Dub. But Chet Holmgren, I'm probably shopping him. I'm just being honest, because I'm not a believer that we can have the same success as we add these contracts to our situation that we just had, for which I'm paying you because of. You're getting this amount because you won the championship. But if we can't win the championship because I gave you this amount, then what the hell am I investing in really? OKC did what they had to do to keep from having an abrupt end to what they just put together. The NBA backed every team into this corner, not just Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's why you're going to see a lot of contracts given out to guys that probably are not great investments, just so teams could keep what they've developed, the players they developed in their roster. And then because we're in this space where money is going up, people want to break records in what they're paying guys, or demand, rather guys are demanding they get paid that much in order to stay. But I'm telling you, I would be a cheap owner because I'm projecting things either plateau in that regard or go down in that regard. And at some point in time, the market has to recognize that if it's not going to eventually correct or crash, it's going to have to recognize that. It's in the market's best interest to stop just giving more just because it makes more. It's not. It's going to end up correcting on this league. I'm telling you, it's going to end up correcting. And with these injuries popping off, guys getting these Achilles injuries left and right, it is a great time to anticipate that and pull back on all this record-breaking money, man. It's a great time to do it. The team that does will probably be in a better position to build going forward when that happens. So that's just what I'm saying. I would pull back a little bit if possible. Give it 2 or 3 years. If it continues to increase, whoever is the dude that year, that's when I give them, okay, you can get your $400 million. But right now, I'm not divvying out all this stuff like these people are doing, anticipating something that the evidence isn't as conclusive to show me that this is not a significant risk to my overall business. I think it's going to be a significant risk giving these guys this money if something goes wrong. Anything can go wrong. We just came out of a pandemic 5 years ago. I'm not as bold as some of these owners are to just dish record-breaking money out to these guys that are not of LeBron, not of Michael Jordan, not of Magic Johnson caliber, bro. You have to be of that caliber, in my opinion, to feel confident that breaking records with your money is in my best interest. I need to know that even if my team sucks, people are going to come to see you play on a bad team. Do these guys hold that type of weight? None of these people that paying this much actually hold that type of weight. Devin Booker got like a $150 million 2-year, $150 million deal. Phoenix's obsession with Devin Booker is exaggerated. I like Devin Booker. I watched him score 70-something points twice in his career, once against a Boston Celtic team that was really good. They lost by 1 million, but he still scored 70-something. I get that. I watched him go to the finals once. I get that. But to be breaking records for Devin Booker is crazy to me. It's crazy. I like 30 points as much as the next guy, but he ain't worth nowhere. He ain't worth that. He ain't worth that, especially going forward. Just 2 years. Yeah, you can get prime work out of Devin Booker over the next 2 years, but $72 million a year for a guy that's never won a championship, for a guy who spent a good portion of his team either on souped-up teams with other players around him for which underachieved, or on bad basketball teams, you giving him all that? I think that you in Phoenix have a greater view on Devin Booker than the rest of the field does. And while Devin Booker probably get his 57 just like these last two guys, giving him 72 is just stupid. It's stupid. That's stupid. I'm just being honest. Devin Booker's cool. Like I said, he J-Dub money, Paolo Banchero money, I'd be happy to give him that amount. He's that. $72 million. That's stupid. So that's my take on the Devin Booker contract. It ain't a significant year amount. So if you just want to divvy out crazy amount of money to a guy for 2 years, it comes off the books very soon. I don't think you're going to have a problem just letting that play out. Don't expect anybody to trade for it. And if you have to stretch it, it's going to suck. But hey, if you got the money, you worth what, $100 billion? What's 72 a year to a basketball player? You know what I mean? But to assess him as if he's Michael Jordan of his time is where I just look at that and say, God, this is stupid. Like literally for me, this is stupid. But it is what it is, man. I just think if you want to break records with these guys and pay them record-breaking money, it's your money to spend. I don't trust the cap going up enough to do that, and I don't like this field enough to do that, if I'm being honest. This crop of basketball players just ain't worth that to me. They not. In comparison to the legends that came before them and what they did for the game. No, fam, I'm not gonna pay Devin Booker like he's Kobe, bro. I'm not paying Devin Booker like he's Michael Jordan, fam. What are we doing? And so that's what it becomes a situation where it's like, all right, if it's your money, you spend it the way you want to. But me, if something's a Honda, I'm paying Honda money for it. And I'm not spending no more than $36,000 for a brand new Honda, and it's gonna be souped up. I'm not spending $70,000 on a Honda, fam. It's not happening. And that's what I think these NBA owners are doing. And I personally think that talent assessment and player assessment in today's league is not very good. I really believe that. I think that may not necessarily be something that is popular to a lot of people, but I just think that the presence of politics, particularly with the pressure of agents and companies, agencies, are creating the environment where people are being duped into spending $70,000 on Hondas. I think that's what it is. Or think it's in their best interest to donate $20,000 ahead of time, which is what that really is, to assure that you have that good relationship. I know as the agent, my talent's worth $50 a year. But if you want to continue to be on my good side and I continue to flush players your way over the next 15 years, 10 years, with the leverage that I have, you'd be best to spend this $70,000 on my Devin Booker. That's what, $70 million rather on my Devin Booker. That's really what it comes down to, man. I'm sorry. I'm not that type of stupid. I'm not. For me, I'm foregoing all of that. I'm keeping my money in my pocket, and I'll be doing deals with people who have some sense, rather than just trying to just invest so much in my relationship with this agency company that could very easily have a shift in power, and now my investment money goes out the window because they're not even the guys anymore. And, the shift in that game of power tends to come abruptly, as I've seen over the last 30 years. An agency has everybody, now he don't have nobody. And you done invested in a 10-year arrangement with this person, and he ain't got nothing but role players to give you 5 years from now. Not me. Not me. I ain't playing that game. So that's pretty much where I'm at, man. I'm a lot more conservative. You call me cheap, but I'm gonna be the guy that has a lot to do a lot. And just as quickly as I got J-Dub and Chet Holmgren, if I keep draft picks in my equity, I can get the next Chet Holmgren and J-Dub too. I ain't got paid to do all this money, cap myself off at decent and watch them take on injuries that make my contracts bad. No, I'm not doing that. Keep giving me picks. I get the new ones, the new fresh ones, and we're going to keep a souped up team forevermore. BDL 44, I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.